Hello, MJ Clemenco here. Tonight I'd like to talk about fear. If you get too close to the edge of a cliff and you feel afraid, it's warning you to get back, to be careful. Fear is a natural emotion and it warns us, tells us to be cautious or to stop something. But there are other kinds of fear. Fear to change jobs when you really want to change jobs. Fear that you'll fail if you change jobs. That fear is just getting in your way. That fear is a fear that you can feel and do it anyway. Because if you're unhappy doing something, not just a job, if you feel something and you want to tell your partner or a friend and you don't because you're afraid that they'll get angry at you, you're not doing yourself any favor. So there's a kind of fear that will inhibit you from doing what you need to do and what eventually you will be happy that you did. In that vein, there's a kind of fear called fear of intimacy. People often don't realize that they have fear of intimacy. What they might notice is that they get very close to somebody and then at the last minute they back away. They think they like them, they believe that it's going to be really wonderful, and then they run away. They change their minds, or there's something terribly wrong with this person. Now, sometimes there is something terribly wrong with the person, and in that case, you should back away. But sometimes you're just devaluing the other person because you're afraid. Most often, people don't have any idea they have fear of intimacy. Another way fear of intimacy acts is if you find you're always choosing somebody who's emotionally unavailable. You're safe if you choose someone who's emotionally unavailable. Because what your fear is about is your fear of being hurt. Fear of being hurt in a relationship will cause devaluing the other person and causing you to run away. It will cause you to choose people who are not emotionally available. It will cause you to stay away from people, to avoid engaging in relationships. And the truth is, that's not a good kind of fear. Sometimes when adults have been betrayed by one or both parents, uh, severely disciplined, like beat with a belt, or molested, um, that fear develops then in childhood. There are traumatic experiences that happen with the person who's supposed to love you. You could be an adult and not recognize the symptoms of your fear of intimacy, your fear of trusting someone to love you and to allow you to love them. Now, it is true that there are no guarantees, and that's why it's important to take a look at this kind of fear. If you enter a relationship with someone, you have no way of knowing whether or not they're going to hurt you. Of course, I'm assuming that you've ruled out that they're alcoholic, that they're a drug addict, that they're married to someone else. I'm talking about a fear of being hurt that you may or may not recognize, and it's getting in your way. Maybe you were betrayed by someone. Maybe you caught your former partner cheating on you. Um, that also would cause fear of intimacy. But when those things happen, when you notice if you're devaluing someone so you don't have to have anything to do with them, if you're backing away from a relationship you can't give yourself a good reason to back away from, if you avoid relationships, avoid trusting, if you presume that the other person is definitely going to hurt you, and you go about behaviors that will make them reject you, Those are all signs of fear of intimacy. And like I said, fear of intimacy can develop in early childhood. There are many adults who were abused as children who are very fearful, but they don't know that. What they notice, if they think about it, is they don't have successful relationships. They've chosen the wrong person every time. So it helps to go to therapy if you have any of those symptoms, because you can identify what the source is and you can make better choices about what you want to do. But again, any relationship that is intimate, that is real, is a relationship that does not come with guarantees. If you enter into a relationship, you should know enough about the other person to be fairly certain that this is a good person. But that's about all you can do. I mean, somebody can hide something from you about their past, and you won't be any wiser. Somebody can love you and you love them, and then it can go bad for various reasons. We all have to take risks if we are going to be intimate, if we are going to be trusting, if we are going to allow ourselves to be emotionally involved with another. And we have to be able to say, okay, I am willing to risk that I could be hurt here. But I'm not going to predict I'm going to be hurt, because if I do that, I'm very likely to create a self-fulfilling prophecy where I create a situation in which I am hurt. I see people in my practice over and over and over again, and they don't realize that they carry the problem within them. They think it's out there. They think it's the person or the persons. They don't realize that they are the ones who are afraid of true intimacy, or don't realize that not only are they afraid, they're not willing to take the risk, and they're not going to get a guarantee. So I wanted to talk about that tonight. So if you think that you have any reason to think that you might have fear of intimacy, you can seek help. You can talk to someone. You might even get a book if you don't feel like going to talk to someone. That's okay. But recognize that if you don't take that fear by the hand and allow yourself to be open to an experience of intimacy and trusting, an experience of love, it won't ever happen. So if you take the risk, you stand a good chance of not being hurt and of being able to be intimate. If you don't take the risk, it will never happen. You will miss that. And that would really be a shame. Good night for tonight.